Let me again express my personal appreciation to each and every one of you who has kept faith with our party. Like I've had cause to say elsewhere, these are very, very tempting moments. And as believers, those who have faith will overcome temptation. And after the fog, the weather will be clearer. I also did say, this is not to say I'm celebrating what happened, but I also did say during the campaign before the last convention that over time, it is my hope that the question of we don't know, as most commentators and analysts I want to say all the time, we don't know the difference between Party A and Party B, or to be more specific, the difference between the All Progressive Congress and the People's Democratic Party, and indeed any other political party, that with time, those differences will be clear. I had wondered aloud how we are going to be able, over time, sustain a political party which ought to be built and formed on the basis of shared commitment, shared ideas, and shared common values. How we could have a political party in which you have from the far right to the far left, from the communist to the fascist. Obviously, over time, it was just a matter of time that water will find its level. And those who don't fit into the body of ideas that bind us together as a progressive party, for me, it was only a matter of time that they will fall off. And those who believe in it will stay, and those who are not yet in it will move over. I believe this is beginning to happen, and over time, our party, I believe, will be the stronger for it. The purpose of today's meeting can be categorized into two. The first is for us to meet and let the world know that we still have, and we have even more now, courtesy of what happened over the weekend. I believe we now have 55 distinguished senators, elected distinguished APC senators.
56.
Huh?
56.
56. I think we should clap for that. 56 APC senators. That is more than half. That is a simple majority of the entire numbers of the Senate. Because I understand the Senate is made of 109 senators. So 50% of 109 is 44 and a half. 54 and a half. Am I right?
Yes.
54 and a half is the 50% of 109. And now we have 55. 56. I think I didn't get my breakfast right this morning. Or I am so overjoyed that, I think I need to take it slowly. We have 56 out of 109. But we also know for a fact that as we speak, unfortunately, one of the APC senators is in prison for reasons that are no secret to any of us or to the Nigerian people. So effectively, therefore, the total number of senators that can be convened today, if all members are in attendance, will be 108. So if you have 56 out of 108, I believe there can be no question as to who is in charge. Your great party is still in charge in terms of numbers, in terms of quality, in terms of commitment, in terms of patriotism, and in terms of resolve to keep faith with the Nigerian people and do what we have to do to justify the mandate that Nigerians freely entrusted to us a couple of years ago, about 3.5 years ago. In the House of Representatives, we are similarly, no question, that we have the overwhelming majority of members of the House of Representatives. Out of a total number of 360. Out of 360, we have 196 members of the House of Representatives, including the very best, the brightest, the most rugged, the most committed, and the most brilliant of legislators in the House of Representatives elected on the platform of our party. You know, the common saying is that people should not beat their drums, but I found my courage in the words of Sir Ahmadu Bello, the former premier of, the late premier of Northern Nigeria, who said he thought it was wrong in a world in which people are increasingly self-centered. People may be too busy building their own drum that nobody might remember to beat your own drum. And therefore, he didn't see anything wrong in people justifiably beating their own drums if they have cause to do so. I believe in moments like this, and given the facts that I have just spoken to, that we, the All Progressive Congress, as represented by the distinguished senators, APC senators, and APC members of the House of Rep, that we have every just cause to be proud and to beat our chest to the fact that we remain the dominant party in the National Assembly. But I got a little worried when otherwise reputable media houses also joined on the basis of unverified facts carried away by those who have vested interest to report without minimum effort to establish the fact. This morning, there was a newscaster or a news headline in Channels Television alleging that I presided over a meeting with senators last night. I will not ask them to retract the news. The way to discredit any media is to put the truth out, because the power of the pen is as potent according to the fact it conveys. When that power is recklessly misused, it simply loses value. So, fortunately, I wasn't around last night, and therefore I couldn't have held any meeting or participated in any meeting at Aso Drive. I also saw screaming headlines in some newspapers today that Oshiomhole and APC senators met in their quest to remove or to impeach the Senate president. That I attended the meeting last night for that purpose. Again, I will publish my departure boarding card and my return boarding card, and even the appropriate pages on my passport to show when I was stamped out of Nigeria, stamped in to the UK, stamped back into Nigeria, plus those records, and they challenge these media houses, including Channels, who increasingly has become a little bit partisan. it is becoming clear that channels are choosing to channel one-sided information, completely abandoning the tradition that channel has been known for, and for which many of us have been very, very proud. Last Sunday, he spent hours or several minutes reporting events in the National Assembly, confronted with hard facts, namely that whereas the PDP senators, as led by the PDP leader, Senator Bukola Saraki, claimed that there was an attempt to impeach him, their own video camera showed only PDP senators being in the House, along with hundreds of talks imported by them. And from what we now know, they were there as early at 6 to 7 a.m. And the only senators that were found in the National Assembly premises were all PDP senators. So if indeed there was an attempt to impeach distinguished Senator Saraki, it can only be assumed on the basis of the facts available that it is PDP senators who were determined to impeach Senator Saraki on that day. It cannot be those who were not present. There is this famous saying by the late M. Ko Abiola of blessed memory, when he said, "A tree that falls in the forest can only possibly kill someone in that forest." So whatever happened in the National Assembly on Tuesday last week could only have been done by those who were present in the National Assembly that day. And they happen to be all, without exception, senators elected on PDP platform as led by distinguished Senator Saraki. And few, and there's some House of Rep members, PDP House of Rep members. Yet, it is they who are joined the House. And it is they who were present even before the regular time that the House normally sits. So any media, any analyst, any columnist who is simply interested in the facts cannot but interrogate Saraki and company as to how is it that they were the one present. Now, channels went on to give such generous coverage, and I have no problem with that. Generosity is something to be appreciated, provided it is extended to all concerned. Not done, they gave a very generous coverage to Senator Bukola Saraki's World Press Congress, World Press Conference. Although it will appear that the entire world press is dominated by black-skinned people. I saw a word that was completely black.
Nigerian.
No, don't mistake Malatus for... It's not everybody that is light-skinned that is not black. Hello? But I also decided, we also had a press conference, which I said was specifically conveyed a Nigeria press conference, where it's a Nigeria matter, to respond to some of the issues raised by the Senate President. Channel also covered that press conference. I would have thought that when the Senate President finished his own version, it was only fair that APC response was also similarly aired, so that the Nigeria viewers can make up their mind. But even our attempt to put our own as advertorial was declined by Channels Television. Now, I thought I should say this because the Nigerian people have a right to know who to believe. But our recent history has taught us one thing, that when a media house consistently become the megaphone of a particular partisan interest, over time, the public can see through the lies, the half-truth, and the untruth. And for me, it is unfortunate that channel could degenerate to that level of spreading false information and fake news in matters of serious national importance. But let me say before I sit down that if the purpose of these sponsored stories is to blackmail the All Progressive Congress, or in particular, the distinguished senators elected on the platform of the All Progressive Congress and who have remained on that platform, if the purpose of this disinformation, you will allow me to stop, with due respect, to welcome my old friend, my own brother, the immediate past distinguished Senator God's will. Distinguished. Uncommon. Welcome, my dear brother. Uncommon defection. APC. APC. Change. Deep with the change. That appreciate the need to respect facts and appreciate that each time you publish falsehood or broadcast false stories, you devalue the integrity of their media house. This is to say nothing about the integrity of a senator who chooses to lie generously about a fellow senator. So if Senator Ben Bruce will make such serious allegations that a distinguished senator who was in his constituency thousands of miles away from Abuja, he alleged that he was in the chambers, I would have thought that as soon as these facts were established, the electronic and the print media will interrogate that senator on behalf of the Nigeria viewers to tell us whether there are two Senator Godswill Akpabio in the National Assembly. We need to speak to this because democracy is not at the mercy of those who have chosen to be conveyors of untruth and of falsehood. Wherever they rear their head, they have to be exposed for who they are. I don't think I need to add more about the danger of fake news to our democracy. And anyone who purports to be interested in the survival of democracy must make every effort to distinguish falsehood from truth. However, in all of this, one thing is clear. I believe that the Senate President thinks that by whatever means he's doing it, manipulating reports, manipulating stories, distorting social media, recruiting faceless commentators, and sponsored writers, that he can change the real narrative that democracy taught us that minority have a right to have their say, but majority must have their way. This is a universal truth. So if we have 56 senators and they have 49, I insist that 49 senators cannot preside over the affairs of a house in which APC has 56 senators. and I asked them to tell us anywhere in the world where minority rule over majority. Oftentimes, we take flight to Washington and to other places to understudy America's presidential system of government. Once you lose majority, without further ado, once you become minority, without further ado, you step down and hand over. And all of these stories about illegality or legal impeachment or whatever, let me restate that, and I do so on the platform on behalf of our party, but I also know that it is
order, please.
I also know that it is the wish of all our senators elected on the platform of our party that we cannot be subjected to minority rule in the Nigeria Senate. And therefore, whether it is convenient for distinguished Senator Saraki or not, the truth is, whether by morality or by law or by convention, distinguished Senator Saraki can only avoid impeachment by towing the path of honor, step down, so that APC can take over the leadership of the House. So I want to repeat, Senator Saraki, as President of the Senate, will be lawfully and democratically impeached as President of the Senate. It will not be illegally done. It will be done according to law. It will be done according to tradition. And those lawyers who have chosen to sit as judges, we need to remind them that lawyers are at best officers of the court. They do not constitute the court. So when Senator Saraki is lawfully impeached and democratically impeached, they will be free to go to anywhere they want to go to and canvass the legality or illegality of the act. It does not lie in their mouth to pronounce with finality as if they have constituted the judicial arm of government. And I'm also happy that just recently, our own party, the All Progressive Congress, and I don't want you to misunderstand me when I say I was happy that I believe it was the Court of Appeal or the Supreme Court? At the Court of Appeal. Court of Appeal held when the APC went to court to challenge the bill that was under consideration in the National Assembly with regards to order of election, when the court held that based on the principle of separation of powers, that the court cannot stop the legislature from exercising their independence. But when they have so exercised their independence and make a law or make a decision, now the legality of that decision, as it relates to the Constitution, the court has jurisdiction to inquire into it. So all those people who are wasting their time believing that they can go and file dubious cases in all kinds of courts, so that they think wrongly that they can in turn hang on it to purport that the matter is in court and therefore the Senate cannot exercise their fundamental right to determine their leadership, they need to read carefully that judgment by the Court of Appeal in the matter of APC versus the National Assembly or any other matter. Excuse me if I don't use the normal legal references because I do not claim to be a lawyer. Because this morning I saw that some people claim they are going to court to stop the Senate president from being impeached. That would be an exercise in futility because the court cannot impose on the Senate who leads them. It is the discretion of the senator to determine who leads them. When we get here, we will speak that, I'm sure, if and when they go to court, those matters will be canvassed. Everything I have said as I was speaking, now I believe we have formed a quorum. Now that the Deputy Speaker just walked in, Right Honorable Lasso, Deputy Speaker, House of Representatives, I believe he deserves a more central city position, not at the corner, but right at the center. Yes. Sit near your brother.
No, let him sit here. He
Okay.
wants to sit next to you.
Wait a minute, I'm taking my time. I'm being fully reinforced. What is within their competence so to do. The only thing I want to reassure the Nigerian people is that as governing party, we are committed to leading by example, and that means absolute submission and obedience to the letter and the spirit of the Nigeria Constitution. And everything we will do, we will ensure that it is done according to law, including the impeachment of Senator Bukola Saraki, doing so democratically and legally. There is no hiding place for him, and I insist his time is up. The only way he could have probably retained that office is to decide to return back. But we will not be ready to welcome him. He must remain where he is, and we will contribute to ensuring that he surrenders the presidency of the Senate to the majority party in the Senate in line with the provisions of our Constitution. But distinguished leader of the Senate,